What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sydney here. Now, you know me, I'm normally one to like to bring positive messages, but unfortunately, I don't have that for you today. I have unequivocal proof that the feminist agenda is in full effect and has taken over the government domestic violence agencies and the support systems that should be available to both men and women. Now, I've gone to the Western Australian government website, the New South Wales government, Victorian government, Queensland government, New South Wales government, and federal government. Every single state in Australia is against men, and I'm going to prove it to you. And I've put all the links in the description below. And guys, I'm not going to be shy about asking you guys to donate today, because I've been seething about this all day. And this is something that you need to know. Here we go. This is the Attorney General's Department. Attorney General is basically, I don't really know how to describe him, but he's sort of one of the people that's fairly influential in Australian Parliament alongside the Prime Minister. Now, family violence. Proposed amendments to the Family Violence Act. Oh, would you look at that national plan to reduce violence against women? Nothing to reduce violence against men. Nothing to prevent men from being lied about in court and having false allegations made against them and being taken away from their children. Nothing about that. Australian Government Department of Human Services. Who else can help with family and domestic violence? We go 1-800-RESPECT, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about 1-800-RESPECT later. There's not too much on here. Here we go. Men's Line is a telephone and online support service. They provide specialist help to people affected by family and domestic violence. They also offer support to people using violence. Now, nowhere in any of these web pages are you going to find anything to support women that are using violence against men or anybody else, or against their children, as they have been proven to be the majority abusers of children, statistically speaking, from government data. Oh, look, White Ribbon gives you a list of organizations that can help. Let's have a look at White Ribbon, should we? Nope, that's not it.
As you might guess, we have a bit of a niche with
here we go. Found a White Ribbon over here. Oh, here we go. Stop Violence Against Women. So that's your resource to get help on domestic violence organizations. Perfect for us men. Absolutely freaking perfect. Next, Family and Community Services, Housing. Housing New South Wales recognises that domestic and family violence has a serious and harmful impact on victims and their families. Housing New South Wales is blah, 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 blah. Oh, here we go.
If they had actually spent $10,000 on a website like that, then they would have made sure that they were using it properly.
There was something in this before. Here we go. For more information, please see Domestic Violence and Homelessness. So I'm just going to click there and scroll down. There we go. Women's DV Court Advocacy Program. The program funds 28 women's domestic violence court advocacy services, which provides support at 108 local courts around the state. That's just in New South Wales. The program provides advice, information and support to women seeking legal protection from domestic violence and help with other needs, including accessing support services, for example, financial assistance and advice, housing, counselling and family law issues. Nothing about men or support for men. I note, nothing at all. Here we go, safe house accommodation for families escaping violence. The Safe House Network provides support to Aboriginal women and their accompanying children. So not Aboriginal men and their accompanying children if they're being abused by an Aboriginal woman or anybody else for that matter, who are escaping family or domestic violence in Western New South Wales. Each safe house provides a safe place for women and their children. Fan-fucking-tastic. And there's some people that I know, they're going to be looking at me going, oh mate, you're just too angry, you need to get some help. Mate, you need to look at what's going on here. Because this is some real shit. And I know one particular person who wants me to stop doing this channel, but that particular person has a son. And that son is going to be affected by this. So this is very important that you listen up. And I love you, I appreciate you, but you need to listen to this for the sake of your son. And for the sake of his children if he has them.
My investment in the practice of my faith has cost me a lot.
Here we go. New South Wales Government Justice Department.
So much so that it would be almost impossible for me
Domestic violence disclosure. It's going to be easier if I just do a quick search for women. Here we go. New South Wales Domestic Violence Justice Strategy. For other assistance, please call the Domestic Violence line. For support and information about going to court for domestic violence, call the Women's Domestic Violence Court Advocacy Service. A free call, government funded, I note. Taxpayer funded, sorry. There wasn't a great deal here. This was fairly balanced. Here we go. Family and Community Services, Women, New South Wales. See up the top left there, Women, New South Wales. Domestic and Family Violence app. Oh, that sounds exciting. Who is the app for? The Aurora Domestic and Family Violence app is for people experiencing domestic and family violence or for those worried about their relationship. It is also a valuable resource for those worried that a friend or a family member is experiencing domestic and family violence. What's on the Aurora app, you might ask? Here we go. Is it safe? The Aurora app has been built with numerous safety features that allow women, not men, women, to use it discreetly and seek assistance without risk of tipping off a perpetrator. Oh, you mean a man? A violent man? Without tipping off a violent man? Okay, I see how it is, New South Wales government. Fuck you. And endangering themselves. It was developed in consultation with New South Wales police and experts. You mean feminist CUNTs from the domestic violence sector. Now let's move on to Victoria, shall we? Ending family violence, delivering change. Stories of change. Here we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stories from women and only 2 from men. Oh, here we go. Men who cannot accept equality. Men who have a long way to go to learn respect. And men who have ingrained beliefs that hurt women and themselves. We need to change all of that. Right. Jenny says people don't tend to think of elder abuse as a form of family violence. So what you're saying is you've been abused, Jenny, correct? Antoinette, every day I hear the stories of Aboriginal women's resilience in the face of violence. When the Royal Commission into Family Violence handed down its report, a sense of hope began to build. Fundamentally, we need to build a future where all forms of disability discrimination are not tolerated. See, all the women are saying, you know, we need to talk about women, we need to talk about domestic violence. These guys are saying, we need to talk about how men can stop being violent. She lost her life to a vengeful man who refused to accept her right to be free of him. So we've got 10 brave and courageous stories from women and 2 of men that are basically apparently previously abusive and have reformed or think that we need to do better. Okay, Victoria, I see how it is. We all know what Victoria's track record's like. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one for you guys. Can't wait to see this. Would you look at it right here? Rosie Batty. Rosie Batty. I will keep speaking up because I want people to be aware of the impact family violence has on women and children. For people to understand the very real risk to our lives. Well, Rosie Batty, I've got a message for you because I seem to remember that it was your son who died. Yes, he died at the hands of his father, but it was your son, a male who was a victim of domestic violence. But oh no, let's keep up the feminist CUNT narrative that it's all about women and children, and only the women and children, right? Because, you know, men aren't at risk of violence when they grow up or anything. In fact, if you have a look at the stats, I think you'll find that men are most likely to be subject to violence from other people, whether that be women or men later in life. And there's a number of reasons for that, of which people like you have to play a part. Absolute piece of shit. Okay, next. Here we go. More Family Safety Victoria. Family Safety Victoria is committed to keeping women, children and families, single mother families, I bet, safe. Our priority is the safety and well-being of women, children, and young people. We are working to keep women, children, and families safe, and to ensure children and young people grow up in families that can support the development, health, and well-being needs. To create a future where all Victorians are safe and where children grow up in environments that are built on, here we go, gender equality and respectful relationships. Wouldn't you know that? Gender equality, huh? Where have I heard that before? What's going on, Niggy 101? These feminist CUNTs, these bitches. Fucking unbelievable. And I'm only a third of the way through. Let's keep it going. Here we go. At Family Safety Victoria, everything we do begins with a deep understanding of people's lived experiences and the specialist expertise of the family and violence and family services sector, which is run by feminists. Here we go. Oh, hello. Chief Executive Officer of Family Safety Victoria. Let's have a read about the Chief Executive Officer of Safety Victoria. In June 2017, Sue Clifford was appointed as the first Chief Executive Officer of the newly established Family Safety Victoria. So it wasn't run by the patriarchy before this? It started off being initiated by a woman? Oh, well, that fucking completely destroys the feminist narrative that the whole world is patriarchy. Let's continue. Ms. Clifford has extensive experience working with the individual communities, the sector and government to drive important changes that improve the safety of Victorians. This includes nearly 3 decades working with Victorian police, specialising in the areas of family violence, sexual assault and child abuse. Ms. Clifford comes to Family Safety Victoria from her most recent role as a commander of the Priority Communities Division of Victoria Police, which was established to engage more effectively and purposefully. Now, as an active member of the community, Ms. Clifford has played a key and influential role in the development of the White Ribbon Foundation. Let's have another look at White Ribbon, shall we? Stop violence against women. What is violence against women? Definition of violence against women. Causes of violence against women. What is domestic abuse? Controlling relationships. Cycle of violence. Signs of an abusive relationship. Facts about violence against women. Domestic violence statistics. Fact sheets. Translated fact sheets. Laws. Violence against men. Oh, that'll be interesting. I haven't seen that yet. Majority of domestic violence is against women. At the same time, female domestic violence against men and in lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, intersex and queer relationships occurs too. All forms are unacceptable because they had to put this caveat in to stop it from being completely one-fucking-sided. White Ribbon Australia engages men to highlight the positive role men can play to stop domestic violence and other forms of men's violence against women. White Ribbon Australia tailors messaging and tools to achieve this message. There are other organisations working to stop violence against men and other forms of violence through evidence-based action and best practice. Well, you haven't given me any references to those organisations because you don't want anyone but White Ribbon getting the funding and the donations. Funny about that. Let's go back to this, shall we? So, we've gone past Victoria. No, we're still onto it. Royal Commission. Snapshot of the recommendations from the Royal Commission into Family Violence Reports. Let's do another search for the keyword women, because we know that's going to be... Oh, there it is. Unbelievable. The Royal Commission into Family Violence report confirms that family violence causes terrible physical and psychological harm, particularly to women and children. Surprise, fucking surprise, Victoria. Here we go, Northern Territory. Let's have a look at this. This page has some information about the signs of domestic violence and family violence and help available for victims in the Northern Territory. You must report family and domestic violence. Sounds fair enough. Let's see if we can get help for domestic and family violence and help for sexual assault victims. Oh, here we go. Help for domestic and family violence. 1-800-RESPECT, and I'll get into that in a second. And guys, if you do want to donate, now's the time. I got the super chat. We've also got PayPal and Patreon. This is important information that I'm bringing to you guys, and I've been fuming about this all day, ever since I found out about most of it this morning. Unbelievable. Here we go. Alice Springs Women's Shelter. NPY, Women's Council Domestic Violence Service. Women's Information Service. There's two generically named, but I'd imagine they're mainly centric towards women. Here we go. Young Women's Christian Youth Association. Darwin Aboriginal and Indigenous Women's Shelter. Dawn House, which is for women. Here we go. Women's Crisis Center. Domestic and Family Violence Counselor. Another service for women, as I know. Tennant Creek Women's Refuge. Stronger Families Women's Center. Women. And look, I'm not begrudging the support services for women at all. I'm not begrudging that. I think it's very important. But what is important, that it's fair and equitable. And that men also receive support too. But we men are not getting any support from our own government. Not from state government, not from federal government. Not on any level throughout the entire country. From east to west, from north to south. Unbelievable. It is time to unite, men. Exactly, Jorge. I appreciate you for staying up, Dave. Now, let's go to the next one, shall we? Crisis. It's got to be something about women in here. Surprisingly not. Okay, there we go. That's the one page I've found so far that doesn't have anything that discriminates against men on it. Let's move on. Here we go. Domestic and family violence. Women's remote community safe houses. 1-800-RESPECT. Again, gynocentric. Now, let's go here. Yep, see, all of these places for women, but nothing for men at all. Nothing. Zero. Fucking zilch. Oh, guys. This is the pièce de la résistance. This is the real shit right here. This is where it gets real. Look at this. This is the Western Australia Department of Community Child Protection and Family Support Service. Look at this. I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see. Domestic violence helplines.
Thank you guys for watching that. If you enjoyed that, then please like it and share.
Women's domestic violence helpline. Men's domestic violence helpline. Let's have a look at the women's first. The Women's Domestic Violence Helpline is a statewide 24-hour service. This service provides support and counselling for women experiencing family and domestic violence. Fair enough. This includes phone counselling, information and advice, referral to local advocacy and support services, liaison with police if necessary, and support in escaping situations of family and domestic violence. The service can refer women to safe accommodation if required. A telephone-based interpreting service is available if required. Okay. That's fair enough, right? That's fair enough. Now, however, the next bit is here. And this is what's going to really piss you off. Men's Domestic Violence Helpline. The Men's Domestic Violence Helpline is a statewide 24-hour service. The service provides counselling for men who are concerned about their violent and abusive behaviours. This service can provide telephone counselling, information and referral to ongoing face-to-face services if required. This service can provide information about accessing legal advice, accommodation and other support services for men who've been served with a violence restraining order. So for men who have been served by a violence restraining order, nothing in the women's helpline for women who have been served with a violence restraining order. Oh, because that's right, women don't get served with domestic violence restraining orders because women aren't violent. Remember? Thanks for that, Western Australian government. Go fuck yourselves. Okay, next. Here we go. This is Queensland government. Queensland government. Domestic and family violence getting help. Can you see this here? If you use violence in your relationship, see the guy pointing the finger towards the woman? Right? Because clearly it's only one way. Only one way, apparently. Thank you, government, for nothing. Financial assistance. Oh, let's help the women's with money while we kick the guy out of his house. Planning for your safety. Let's protect the women's safety, shall we? Counseling, support, and advice also for the women's. Unfucking believable. And of course, the first one is DV Connect Women's Line. They've got the DV Connect Men's Line as well. Good to see. Although it's fucked otherwise. Here we go. If you use violence in your relationship. Here we go. Here we go. How can I tell if I'm using abusive or controlling behavior in my personal relationship? Have there been times when you have made demands or threats, used any form of coercion or physical abuse? Notice that this has happened before, or notice that this is affecting any children in the home. Because I note that women do those things as well when they're being violent, but this isn't referred to here. Usually the other person will back down because they're afraid of what might happen next, because the women are always the afraid ones, right? Is that the way you want your relationship to work? What kind of relationship is it to begin with? Why the fuck did both of you not get out of it? Jesus Christ. Anger and abuse. Well, I'm feeling angry right now. That's the difference. I'm not abusing you guys, but I'm fucking angry at what's going on. And I'm not angry at you guys, by the way, just to let you know. I love you guys. You're my brothers. My fellow MGTOW brothers. But here's some information from the experience of others. But I just get so angry. Anger is an emotion. Abuse or violence is a behavior to control a situation or a person. People can get angry without getting abusive. We're just arguing. I don't know why she's afraid of me. If the person you love or care for says, oh, I don't know why she's afraid of me. No. It's not he's afraid of me. It's, I don't know why she's afraid of me. So it must be a guy threatening, right? I see how it is, Queensland government. If the person you love or care for says they're afraid as a result of your voice, stance, demands, or violence, then believe them. Arguments and disagreements are normal and leave both parties with a sense they have the right to and can influence the direction of the argument. Yeah, because men totally get to influence the direction of an argument when they're arguing with women because they're so fucking rational. Abusive behavior is controlling and one party feels less equal than the other, is afraid and controlled. Oh. She leaves me no choice. She just keeps at me, right? So of course this is blaming the victim, blaming the poor women's, right? Because women don't do this shit to men, do they? Abusive behavior of any kind is always a choice. All choices have consequences. No one deserves to be abused. Whatever the other person says or does, abuse and violence is never an acceptable response. Some people have found it useful to... I'm going to skip past that because it's obvious. Now it says... personal stories. Now there's only... I like to think of this as personal story because there are no stories. There's one story here.
So without addressing those assumptions, we're not really getting
MGTOW all the way.
the core of the debate.
Check out MGTOWmerch.com. Here we go. Personal story, not stories, from Robert. Robert contacted Men's Line because he was very angry. He explained to the counsellor his wife wouldn't do what he wanted. He said his wife argued with him and refused to do the things he wanted her to do. Because women don't demand that men do shit either, do they? No, never. Robert had tried everything he could to make her do as he asked, but she had threatened to leave and take the children with her. The counselor listened to Robert and realized that he considered himself the victim. Robert considered himself the victim in this relationship and didn't understand that he was actually trying to control his wife and that control was a form of abuse. The counselor asked Robert, and I would be willing to say it was a female counselor, just for the record, asked Robert to consider how he would feel if he lost his family. So that's guilting and shaming, which Jordan Peterson spoke about in his interview that he did in Melbourne a few days ago. Check out Bettina Arndt's channel, BETTINA-ARNDT. Go check it out. He admitted it would be terrible and that this was not what he wanted. Sorry guys, I'm losing my voice here. Sensing this could be a turning point for Robert, the counselor explained why some men use power and control, and that this was actually a form of abuse. The counselor recommended some men's behavior change courses Robert could attend that would help him and his marriage. No! It's not going to fucking help the marriage! She's done! She has lost all attraction to him. The marriage is not going to work out. She's going to fuck off. She's going to take his shit anyway. And anyone who doesn't believe me needs to go into the description below. Check out How to Get Stand-Up Men's book and order that fucking book. Because it tells you all about what really goes on. And all of this advice that counselors give is fucking bullshit. It's a crock, it's a lie, and women give the worst fucking advice to men on relationships. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Miggy, I will take a drink from my MGTOW mug. MGTOWmerch.com. Here we go. I didn't see this before. There is never an excuse for violence. However, help is available if you want to stop using violence or abuse. You can phone DV Connect Men's Line or Lifeline. Having an order made against you, a court order that is. It's got all the advice on it there. And of course, that's basically advising men on what to do when they have an order made against them. Let's say women. No, nothing on that page. Let's skip that. All right. Now let's move to Police South Australia's website and also the South Australian government. So the South Australian Police supports victims of domestic violence and domestic violence situations. Where are we? Find out more about domestic violence on the 1-800-RESPECT website. So the police are directing you there. What's going on, Sishu? Sorry guys, I haven't given everyone shout outs, but this is obviously a very important topic. And seriously guys, I'm not joking when I said you need to spend $10 on that book from Stand Up Men. The guys with Jordan Peterson right now in Sydney, he's a fucking genius. Right? What is in this book will help you to avoid these situations. Will help you to deal with these situations. Will help you to prevent yourself from becoming a beta male in the eyes of a woman that you cohabit with for a long time. Here we go. Now, this 1-800-RESPECT that South Australian Police directed us towards. Here we go. Violence and abuse. It's all women. Domestic and family violence. Let's have a look at that, shall we?
Of course not. They say that she's the only one. Just that she is. It looks like premise 1 is failing.
So that gives a bit of advice. Let's see if it makes any particular references. No, that's good. But you know, it's very telling that all of this has pictures of women and none of it has pictures of men. What's going on, Total Coaching? South Australian government. Right, this is the second last one that I'm going to get to. Now, here we go. South Australian government. This is domestic violence and abuse. Urgent situations. Domestic violence victims. Call the Domestic Violence and Aboriginal Family Gateway Service, which provides crisis counselling. That's fine. 1-800-RESPECT, which as we've already established. And I will show you in a moment, is very, very much gynocentric and anti-male. Women's Information Service of South Australia. Yarrow Place. What's Yarrow Place? I'm going to check this up.
If you reject Christ's followers who were sent out as his messenger,
okay.
Then he's saying that you are rejecting.
So it's
obvious that
it's mainly, here we go. It's pretty much all women here. Counseling services for women, professional development, training and education to help women get back on their feet. Yep, all women. This is a completely women-based thing. There's no such thing as rape of men. We know this. The feminists told us so, so it must be true. Mental health support, Beyond Blue. Oh, you mean the one that Julia Gillard, a previous female Prime Minister that took away perjury laws in the family court so women can now lie about things and get away with it? That's the organization that we're being pointed to if we need help. Unbelievable.
The religious authorities that heard this decried it as blasphemy because they rightly understood that only God has the power to forgive
Anyway,
sins.
emergency housing. If you need emergency housing, see on accessing pages, Youth Gateway. Be very interested to see if any of them take men in. Highly doubt it. Other websites, Pickle. Okay, I'm not going to go into that now. Oh, here we go. Okay, guys, check this out. We're going to go to respect.gov.au. www.res. Oh, here we go. Respect.gov.au. Violence against women. Let's stop it at the start. So respect only counts when it's men not being violent towards women, not the other way around. I got it. And if you note here, respect, this is the Australian government. This is our federal government. This is the government that governs our entire continent. Unbelievable. You wonder why I'm pissed off. Yeah, I do need a drink, I know. I'm not going to be speaking properly tonight. Check out this fucking fantastic mug from MGTOWmerch.com. Love you guys. Just spilled some water on my keyboard. Here we go. Violence against women doesn't just... if you think violence against women is a big problem, tackle it when it's a little one. Let's stop it at the start. Violence against women doesn't just start, it grows. Let's stop it at the start. Now, as parents and as influencers of young people, we want the best for kids. We want them to have positive experiences, healthy relationships, and opportunities to learn. We want them to understand right and wrong. We want them to respect others and respect themselves. And guys, if you do want to donate, I've got PayPal and Patreon, and I've got the Shekel chat here. Don't be shy. I'm not going to be shy about asking for donations today, because this is very important for you guys to know. And I've been working hard to get all this information together for you guys. So anything you want to swing my way, I appreciate you, Danish Monk. And thank you so much to the other person who donated 2 shekels before. We want them to respect others and respect themselves. We do our best to set a good example, but sometimes, without meaning to, we might say things that excuse disrespectful behavior in young people. It's important that we understand the cycle of violence. Not all disrespect towards women results in violence, but all violence against women starts with disrespectful behavior. Stop the excuses. From a young age, boys and girls start to believe there are reasons and situations that make disrespectful behavior acceptable. We might be surprised at saying things like, it's okay, he just did it because he likes you. And boys will be boys excuses this behavior in the minds of young people. Yet it's easy to make those excuses without even realizing it. Appreciate you, Danish Monk. Start a conversation. You never know when a situation might come up for a conversation with young people about respect. Yeah, because women don't need to earn respect or anything, do we? Do they? Right? Because men need to earn respect. What about the women? Do they need to earn it, or do they just get it because they've got a vagina? That's right. Sorry, Australian government. They get it because they've got a vagina. I forgot that you're fucking cocked by the feminists. Go fuck yourself. Every time we speak out against disrespectful behavior, we're one step closer to stopping the cycle of violence against women. Exactly. Godbrother says YouTube, Google takes a 30% cut on all Super Chat donations. So anyone who wants to donate can do so also by PayPal and Patreon. What else have we got here? So I'm going to close out of that, because there was actually something else that I found this morning. And this was actually what set me off. This is what actually set this off. Now, oh, there we go. I was just looking at Rollo Tomasi's The Rational Mail. Go check out therationalmail.com.
Thank you guys for watching that. If you enjoyed it, please like it and share it and subscribe and come follow along for more content. And if you
now, I'm just having a look here. The Teach Respectful... So this is a new program. This is a new program that Victoria is introducing into public schools. Respectful relationships. Here we go. Now, teach respectful relationships. Learning and teaching material for Foundation to Year 12. So this is Year 1 through to Year 12. Right, from the ages of 6 years old through to 18. 6 fucking years old. Unbelievable. Now, I'm going to play this to you guys. And I'm going to pause bits and pieces in here. Let me just turn this volume up a little, because I've currently got it on mute. This is the Victorian state government.
Respectful relationships education to me is actually modelling respect.
So respectful relationships education is modelling respect. This from a woman who led an anti-male domestic violence feminist agenda by heading up White Ribbon. Right? This is the same woman whose son was killed, but she only cares about violence towards women.
But it's not...
CEO of the Luke Batty Foundation, right? Constantly getting funding from the government to push her anti-male agenda.
A teacher teaching it, it's actually a whole school modelling it.
So it's not a teacher teaching this program, it's the whole school modelling it.
Educators, we have the most contact with young people.
Yes, as educators, these women have the most contact with young people. And she is the health curriculum specialist for Victoria.
In the most formative years of their life. We believe that gender inequality is the core of the problem and is the heart of the solution. And schools can certainly level the playing field and have gender equality taught in schools, practiced in schools, and ingrained in their culture and their policies.
So I'm going to skip back for a second.
Certainly level the core of the problem.
So this woman, she's the CEO of Our Watch. For you guys who don't know what Our Watch is, Our Watch, here we go. I haven't even got to the website yet. Look at this. Our Watch has been established to drive nationwide change in the culture, behaviors, and attitudes that underpin and create violence against women and children. Unbelievable. End violence against women and their children. Right? Not against men, just against women and their children. Not the men's children, against the children of women. Let kids be kids, because why let gender limit our potential? Well, I don't know. Girls are succeeding better than boys at school. There's more women in university than there are men. Women are out-earning men between the ages of 24 and 30 in full-time jobs across the board, even when men are doing more dangerous and longer hours. So, I don't know. Where's the gender equality? I'll let you figure that one out. Here we go. Understanding violence. What's happening in Australia and what can we do to prevent it? Violence against women is now recognised to be a serious and widespread problem because violence against men never happens. Myths about violence. You know, fuck this. I'm just going to skip on because I've seen enough, right? I want to get back to this video.
And it's the heart of the solution, and schools can certainly level the playing field and have gender equality.
Schools can level the playing field and have gender equality.
Taught in schools, practiced in schools.
Taught and practiced in schools. So basically we can have feminist ideology practiced and taught in schools. And have men taught that they're oppressive, abusive assholes before they even understand what the fuck's going on.
And ingrained in their culture and their policies.
So feminist ideology ingrained in their culture and their policies.
Culture of the school.
Look at this blue pill motherfucker.
Must more than reflect the...
And you can see that he's being coached. He's like, what do I say so that I don't get completely cucked by these feminist bitches?
Gender equality issues that are taught, but needs to really be informed and actually underpin all that the school does.
Respectful relationships is really important because...
Okay, Australian Education Union. This is very important because the Australian education system is what's educating our young children.
Respect for relationships is really important because...
Respect for relationships is really important.
Currently we know that research shows what's happening at the moment in schools, despite...
Research shows what's happening in schools is...
everybody's best effort is not getting the right results for the community. So we're really...
not getting the right results for the community, i.e. not having equity for the women's, not getting... the best outcome for women in every single situation, even though boys are already behind the curve.
Happy that this government is not only putting in curriculum and resources and has new initiatives, but it's got all professional learning in place. and the additional support from the region. I think it's a really exciting time.
So this is the Senior Lecturer of Education at Deakin University. This university is notoriously left-wing, is notoriously SJW, is notoriously feminist, and it is just an absolute cesspool of indoctrination and leftist bullshit.
I think, having worked in this space for the last 30 years, we've done this before. We've developed a whole school approach to addressing gender-based violence, but we never had the support to implement it. Children are our future.
So, last 30 years?
But we never had the support to implement this before. We've developed a whole school approach to addressing gender-based violence.
We've implemented a whole school approach to implementing gender-based environment. Man, I'm going to take a drink for you, man. Thanks for sparking that one off, Miggy. Yeah, that's the spot.
We never had the support to implement it.
We never had the support from the government to implement feminist ideology in schools until now. Gotcha.
Our future and education settings, early childhood services or schools are both education settings and workplaces. So what you've got is a captive audience of hundreds of thousands of employees and then hundreds and hundreds of thousands of children who we can grow.
Yep, captive audience of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of children. Now, she's actually CEO of the Domestic Violence Resource Centre. Let's have a look at this. Domestic Violence Resource Centre. Now, you'll note that it's only women except for one man who's a blue pill cuck who reveals the true feminist agenda right at the very end, because I've watched this already. Here we go. Domestic Violence Resource Centre, Victoria. Of course, Victoria. Why am I not surprised? Recognize the drivers of violence against women in your workplace. There we go. Help and advice for women with disabilities, for mothers. Here we go. Tiny little one for men there. Oh, here we go. LGBTQ. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Now let me go back to where I was at. Look at that face. You can just tell she's a CUNT.
Settings and workplaces. So what you've got is a captive audience of hundreds of thousands of employees and then hundreds of thousands of children who we can grow up to be, hopefully living in another generation where violence doesn't exist. It's not.
Here we go. Hear that about the children?
Thousands of children who we can
hundreds of thousands of children
grow up to be, hopefully living.
They can grow up to be.
In another generation where violence doesn't exist. It's not.
Hopefully not living in another generation. Hopefully living in a generation where violence doesn't exist. Oh, you mean violence against women? Gotcha.
How we support the child at the centre to make sure that they can reach that potential to be contributing citizens and respectful citizens, not...
Respectful citizens. There we go again with the respect. There we go again with the respect. Unbelievable.
Just between each other, but with all of us.
If we're going to make the right difference that we need to make in this area, then we really need to start with schools at an early age and involve the entire school community in this work.
So we need to start with schools at an early age if we want to make a difference, i.e. we need to indoctrinate children before they have the chance to think for themselves.
I think respectful relationships education needs to address a whole range of issues and the various ways in culture and society that messages around gender inequality are reinforced. We need to...
Actually, guys, just quickly, I actually think that, see this wall here? See this? I don't know, I'm noticing like some similar imprints. I just feel like she might have smashed that. Anyway, I'll continue.
Inequality are reinforced.
We need to play a role in the long-term prevention. So respectful relationships is all about year on year improvement. For me, I see the school community as being the most essential part of this social reform and the changes we need to see in future generations.
If we want to change community attitudes and community perceptions, we have a really big community that we can have a positive impact on, and for future generations to really change what it means to have respectful relationships and to really impact on that prevention of violence against women in particular and improve that gender equity that we're all looking to achieve.
Now I'm going to go back to the last bit with Blue Pill Boy over here. So I was looking down at my phone. I'm trying to find something for you guys. Of course, this is Rosie Batty finishing off. And this lady here is the Regional Director of the Department of Education and Training. So she's in control of the education system.
Respectful relationships is all about.
Respectful relationships is all about.
Year on year on year improvement. For me,
year on year improvement.
I see the school community as being the most essential.
I see the school community as the biggest opportunity to indoctrinate.
Part of this social reform and
essential part of this feminist agenda.
And the changes we need to see in future generations.
If we want to change community attitudes and community perceptions, we have a really big community that we can.
And see, he's the area executive director, so he's completely cucked by the previous woman.
We have a really big community that we can have a positive impact on, and for future generations really change what it means to have respectful relationships and to really impact on that prevention of violence against women in particular and improve that gender.
See, violence against women in particular. And also he mentioned equity. Now, I'm going to do a quick DuckDuckGo search, right? Because I wanted to share with you guys the definition of equity. Fucking what the... Got some bullshit playing in the background. Just going to close everything up. Here we go. So I don't have sound going in the background. I'm going to look at gender equity, right? Gender equity, gender equity, gender equity. What is gender equity? Here we go, Canada. Oh, this is going to be good. I'm just looking at this on my other screen, guys. I'm going to bring this up. Yeah, see, equity is basically where you end up in the same place, right? It's not about equality of opportunity, it's about equality of outcome. And that is not desirable at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to go back to this now, this video.
Equity that we're all looking to achieve.
Gender equity. There we go. Now, I actually had a little look as well, guys. Check this out. Program background. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the origins of this program. Who actually started up this program? Let's find it. Here we go. Let's go to learning and teaching materials for the foundation to year 12. Let's go through. Let's find who's behind this. Let's do some deep digging, shall we? Oh, this program has been designed by Professor Helen Carl and colleagues from the Youth Research Centre, the University of Melbourne, in partnership with Vic Health. Now, let's do some research on Professor Helen Carl. Let's have a look at this. Professor Helen Carl. Now, what was the article that I actually found earlier on her that basically caught her completely out? Here we go. Preventing Gender-Based Violence in Schools, University of Melbourne. Yep, tackling gender-based violence, tackle gender inequality and gender-based violence, which basically means feminism. We know that gender-based violence is a profound issue in Australia with significant individual social, health and economic costs. 1 in 3 women internationally experience physical or sexual violence. Now, guys, and I'm not advocating violence against women, okay? I don't do that, right? It's not how I roll, right? And anyone who does, it's not cool. But it's not cool for anyone to be attacked violently. Period. Doesn't matter who's doing it and who's on the receiving end. It's not cool. Period. Full stop. End of story. Oh, here we go. Girls and women are frequently targeted, but so are people who do not conform to conventional gender and sexuality norms. So this is basically just some more. Here we go. The program was commissioned by UNESCO, UNICEF, Plan International, and UN Women, the East Asia Pacific UN Girls Education Initiative, and the UN Secretary General's Unite to End Violence Against Women campaign. Here we go. Explore further teenage mothers at greater risk. Usually because they tell, they're going and saying, I'm having this baby and there's nothing you can do about it, and I don't care what you have to say. Yeah, they don't want to be stuck with it, with a crazy teenage mother for the next 18 years. I'm not saying you should be violent, but understandably they're going to be frustrated and, you know, be emotionally charged. So you have to understand that that's the consequence of getting pregnant with someone at fucking 15, 16 years old and expecting them to be held accountable for the next 18 years and have a crazy bitch like you know, controlling them during that time. And I'm not saying that all women who get pregnant as a teenager are crazy, but the majority of them are, in my experience, right? They don't understand what it's like to live life. They don't understand what compromise and family dynamics are all about. They've barely just got free of the shackles of their own family home. That's if they're not still living in it. So then when, it's like with any kid, even if don't have kids, right? We're 17, 18 years old, we leave home, you know, we let loose, we go and do shit we shouldn't do. We get a little bit crazy, you know, we go off on our own tangent. But then when you're bringing kids into the mix, that's where it gets bad. And guys, understandably, would maybe not want a 16-year-old girl, 17-year-old girl, even if the sex was completely consensual, to have their child and hold them liable for the next 18 years, right? And see their child go through the process that they see so many children of single mothers and young teenage mothers go through. Of course, rape victims are different, but when it's voluntary pregnancy, right, or just basically unsafe sex, and they're like, no, I'm having this baby and there's nothing you can do about it, of course they're going to get pissed off. What do you expect? Fuck's sake. Anyway, guys, so the feminist agenda is in full flight in Australia. The Australian government hates you. The Victorian government hates you. The South Australian government hates you. The Queensland government hates you. The New South Wales government hates you. The Western Australian government hates you. I don't know if I've missed any, but basically all of the entire Australia government hates you. And I'm going to just quickly share something else with you here. A little snippet from Google Maps. If you guys haven't donated, feel free to donate by PayPal or Patreon. And I'm going to just quickly flick through here. Sorry. Wow, this has put me in a really different... Because I use a proxy, so it... yeah, I don't know where that's landed me. What else? But let me zoom out. Alright, so... See Australia here? See all of that? Yeah, guys. This entire country hates men. This entire country is like bowing down to the almighty vagina. And let me share a little Malcolm Turnbull with you. Malcolm, so this is the current Prime Minister of Australia. Malcolm Turnbull, feminist. Where are we? Here we go. I'm surprised that is not the first thing that came up. There we go. It was a feminist back in 1988. And it was like 2 minutes or something like that. Here we go.
Mums and dads are accessible short yesterday.
And we're having clear
The Bean ran through the campaign day.
Here we go.
I describe myself as a feminist. I'm a great, as I often say, proportionally on working mums.
The gender theme ran through the campaign day.
I would describe myself as a feminist. I would describe myself as a feminist. I would describe myself as a feminist.
This is the Australian Prime Minister.
I would describe myself as a feminist. great
Look at this
poet,
virtue
as I often
signaling.
say, women hold up half the sky. As I often say, women hold up half the sky. I'm a great poet, as I often say, women hold up half the sky.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, look, there's really not too much more to say, guys. I think I've just told you everything that you need to know. So you just need to know that Australia doesn't give a shit about you. Guys, if you do want to follow me on the other platforms, check out the description below. If you want to get a copy of Stand Up Men's book, which I recommend every single one of you do, it's only $10. It is a money-back guarantee if you don't like it, if it doesn't resonate with you. But I've never ever heard of Stand Up Men having any refund requests. Guys, you really need to get this book to understand what's going on. Anyway, check out the description below for that. Follow me on Instagram, Minds, and Twitter. You can also donate by Litecoin, Bitcoin, Patreon, or PayPal, and MGTOW if you want to check out some MGTOW merchandise. Anyway, guys, I love you all. I appreciate you. Thank you so much to Miggy for jumping in as well. It's good to see you, Miggy. Hope you're doing well, brother. And by the way, guys, at the next election, David Leyenhelm, Senator Cory Bernardi, and in my opinion, Pauline Hanson are the only people that are left that actually give a shit about us. Bill Shorten and Malcolm Turnbull are completely cucked by the feminist agenda. Right? They've got too many votes riding on it. So I just really want you to understand how critical it is that we get Labour and Liberal governments out of power, and the Greens. Labour, Liberal and Greens, get them out. They've got to be gone. Vote against them. It's our only hope of stopping this shit. Show everybody you know that cares about their brothers, about their father, about their sons. Right? Share this with everybody you know that needs to know about what's going on and what's happening to men and how they're being treated like shit and how they're being actively discriminated against by the governments that we pay taxes to. Right? Show this to your mother if she doesn't understand why you're MGTOW. Show it to your sister. Show it to your auntie. Show it to anyone who doesn't get it. And hopefully they'll start to get why us men go our own way, stay away from women, stay away from danger, and focus on ourselves. Right? Because if we don't, everything can get taken away from us. And divorce rates are about 70% right now. And 60 to 70%. And about 60 to 70% of those are initiated by women. Initiated. And I would say more of them are actually caused by women and men then leaving as a result of the women. So don't get married, guys. It's not worth it. Don't live with a woman. It's not worth it. Right? It's just... You've seen everything you need to see. You've seen everything you need to see. I put it all out there for you. All the links are in the description below to every single one of those pages I just showed you. All right, the Greens are horrendous. Issue said we're under a one-party rule. Libs and Labour are all the same, and the Greens are the worst of all. Greens are basically like an entire political party of SJWs. Ironbark Pipe Dream lost 400 grand in his divorce. Right? I know someone. I heard about them this afternoon, who the wife couldn't have children, so she adopted 4 children into the marriage, foster care, right? And then she left the husband, who'd fully paid off his house. He had to pay her enough money so she could buy her own house outright. And then he was left with a $650,000 mortgage and 4 children. And because they're foster children, he had to buy a 5-bedroom house because he's not allowed to have them in the same room as each other. This is how men get treated by our governments, by the family law courts, by the domestic violence industry, which is run by feminists, as is the government. God Botherer says greens are watermelons, green on the outside, red on the inside. You know what? I'd even go as far to say they're red on the outside because they've got blood on their hands. They've got the blood of suicided fathers. They've got the blood of kids that have been killed by their mothers and nothing's been done. Unbelievable. Brizzy Boy just said he got the MGTOW mug from me, from MGTOWmerch.com. Great conversation started with the family and friends here. I'm actually thinking about taking this to work, Brizzy Boy. I've got another one spare in the bedroom. And, you know, one of my other fellow content creators has had 3 friends commit suicide as a result of how badly they were pillaged and ravaged in their divorce. The tenant in my investment property hung himself in my garage because he was being alienated from his daughter by his ex-wife. And of course, guess who they called for support when they found out that he'd hung himself and survived? The ex-wife. Think that's going to make him feel better? Hell no. It just gives her more control over him. Placebo Effect, Media Magnet, Ronicade, Enrico, Danish, Bullets, God Botherer, appreciate you brothers, Jorge, Awas Kamkwa, Enrico, if I haven't mentioned you already, I'm lost. Harmonic, appreciate you. Just flicking through this. Elven Girl, what's going on? And yeah, and Brizzy Boy's a good guy. MGTOW guy, sort of Damocles. Dave, appreciate all you men. Thanks for jumping in, Miggy. AP, good to see you. Dave Ritchie, Coxism, Sishu. Anyway, guys, I'm going to finish this stream right now. What I am going to do, though, is I'm actually going to hang around in the chat with you guys after this, Deuterium-X. I'm going to hang around in the chat with you guys after I finish this video. So feel free to hang around. Do go and donate on PayPal or Patreon. Guys, you know, if each one of you could generate $1 or $2 a month via either PayPal or Patreon, that would enable me to go and do this full time, go do more research, go and lobby to Parliament. You know, entirely up to you guys. But if that's something that you would be willing to donate $1 or $2 a month towards, then you know I'd be happy to go in and fight all in for you guys. I'll leave my job. I don't care. I'll do whatever it is that I have to do to fix this situation we have in Australia because it's just not right now. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you all. I love you all. I'm going to hang around in the chat, but I'm going to stop streaming video now. So Sydney MGTOW over and out. Peace. Catch you later, my MGTOW brothers. I'll see you tomorrow.